I'm sorry, I'm just like really, I'm in this moment right now. This is crazy. Sorry. People don't really know how much what it does to you when something that you love is taken from you and thrown away like it don't even matter, and then they move on with their lives and you're stuck. You're stuck during those years. You're still stuck 21 years later.
It began as a murmur, barely a blip tucked deep inside the financials of one of Diddy's quiet little companies. But a few nosy watchdogs caught the glitch. A mysterious wire from one of Steve Harvey's corporations funneled through a side channel linked to Diddy's empire. The payment shady, the timing even shadier. It landed right after the FBI stormed Diddy's mansions coast to coast. Alone, it might have slid under the radar, but context changes everything. Because now, whispers are turning into accusations. Industry insiders are claiming Steve wasn't paying for services, he was paying for silence. Word is he shelled out to retrieve old footage of himself recorded at one of Diddy's infamous invitation-only parties.
So I don't give them no energy. I give haters no energy. Steve ain't this, he think he this. You don't even know me.
Parties. The kind with no phones, no press, and no rules. And if that's true, then Steve wasn't cutting checks for business, he was buying back his reputation before it leaked, like the rest of Diddy's vault. We're talking about Steve Harvey, Mr. Clean Cut, Mr. Motivational Quotes, the guy who turned Think Like a Man into a brand empire. His mustache alone is more trusted than some politicians. So when he's suddenly wiring hush money to Diddy aka Mr. Federal Investigation, 2024, you know something spooked him. It wasn't charity, it was crisis management. And insiders say it wasn't just any crisis, it was blackmail in high definition. Because this wasn't a business transaction, it was a panic purchase. Whispers claim Harvey was doing damage control, paying to bury footage that could ruin everything. Not a cute blooper or backstage clip, no. This was allegedly from one of Diddy's notorious all-night mansion parties. The kind with no press, no phones. And still, somehow, Diddy allegedly had every angle covered. For years, people have whispered about his hidden vault video proof of wild nights starring the A-list. This was not your standard Hollywood party. These were lockdown soirees with every room allegedly mic'd and recorded. People dressed like it was Halloween in hell. Stuff went down that would wreck careers, brands, even marriages. Industry insiders say Diddy used these tapes as leverage, not just to protect himself, but to control everyone else. Loyalty bought by silence, fear, and knowing one wrong move could make the footage go viral or worse, end up in court. And then Steve Harvey's name just so happens to surface in a financial breadcrumb trail leading straight to Diddy's shell company. That's not coincidence. That's a digital fingerprint. People started asking, what was Harvey doing at those parties? What exactly does Diddy have in the vault that needed erasing now? And why now, right as lawsuits pile up in Diddy being named in some seriously grim allegations? Legal experts off the record say it's not rare for celebs to cover their tracks during scandal season. But this wasn't a settlement. This was a surgical removal, a disappearance fee. Not for public relations but personal survival. Because for Steve, this isn't just about reputation. It's about his whole brand. Family man, faith-based mentor, marriage guru. One leak and all that crashes, especially if the footage isn't just about him. Which brings us to Marjorie. She's no stranger to gossip columns herself. With her past tied to alleged drug traffickers and ex-husbands with shady records, her love story with Steve was always sold as a second chance. But if this video includes both of them, and the rumors are true about unholy interactions with other guests, let's just say this would be the wrong kind of remix to their redemption arc. And it's not just tabloids sniffing around anymore. It all began as a quiet murmur inside a dusty accounting file. Just a minor line item buried deep in one of Diddy's lesser-known shell companies. But a few sharp-eyed investigators spotted something off. A money trail, routed quietly through a Steve Harvey-linked LLC, snaked its way into a Diddy-connected account. The dollar amount was hefty, the description intentionally vague, and the transfer landed days after Diddy's homes were raided by federal agents. Coincidence? Maybe, but add in whispers that Harvey was buying back footage of himself from one of Diddy's notorious party tapes. And, now it smells more like a full-blown cover-up operation. No one knows for sure what's on the tape, but the speed of the payment, the eerie legal silence, and the sudden resurfacing of old cheating allegations, like Marjorie's alleged flings with a bodyguard or chef, make the timing look incredibly suspicious. Remember when Steve clapped back at the rumors with "find something else to do"? Well, the internet did, and what they found has people talking. Whatever Steve paid to bury, it sure wasn't a blooper reel from Family Feud. And then there's Lori Harvey's stepdaughter, fashion icon and red carpet queen who just so happens to have a Diddy connection of her own. Flashback to 2019. Lori and Diddy were spotted vacationing in Italy with Steve and Marjorie, rocking matching fits and dining like royalty. The catch: Lori had just been linked to Diddy's son, Justin. Yes, she allegedly dated the son and then started cozying up with the father. Even whispers of an engagement surfaced at one point. It was messy back then, but now, with Diddy's legal troubles and rumored vault of blackmail footage, it feels more like a trap that's been hiding in plain sight. Sources now claim that Diddy used that old connection as leverage, reminding Steve that Lori had been at his parties. Maybe even on those tapes. Steve allegedly got the message loud and clear: pay or pray. Pay to make the problem disappear, or roll the dice in court and let the media sink its teeth into something far darker. Was this blackmail? Maybe not legally, but morally, that's a whole different story. Imagine being a father told there's footage, real or not, of your daughter at wild parties, linked to a man facing multiple lawsuits. Wouldn't you move mountains to shut it down? That's the genius and horror of Diddy's rumored empire. He doesn't need proof, just pressure. Because in Hollywood, silence is cheaper than scandal, and fear moves faster than facts. That if Lori really was the missing puzzle piece, it wouldn't be the first time she's been tangled in this bizarre triangle. The Justin rumors hit first, but her relationship with Diddy himself, public outings, holding hands, Italy lunches with the Harvey set, the internet ablaze. Both sides stayed quiet, refusing to confirm anything, but the visuals told a different story. A 22-year-old starlet paired with a 49-year-old mogul, who was practically family. People asked questions. Steve never answered. Not when fans flooded his socials, not when tabloids ran wild, not even when people joked this was not in his relationship book. But maybe it wasn't a joke. Maybe Steve's silence was strategic. Maybe he wasn't protecting his image, maybe he was protecting his family. Because now, insiders claim Lori wasn't just romantically linked to Diddy, she was a pawn in a much bigger game. Her presence at those parties, her connection to Diddy, her proximity to that vault of secrets, it may have been the one thing that gave Diddy the upper hand. And if Steve had to buy that footage back to make sure it never saw daylight, that's not damage control, that's survival. And Hollywood's been playing that game a long time. It started as a whisper in the back rooms of entertainment. Finance just a strange wire transfer buried in the financials of one of Diddy's obscure holding companies, but a few sharp-eyed reporters caught something odd. A payment from Steve Harvey's corporate entity routed through a discreet affiliate tied to Diddy's empire. It wasn't the amount, it was the timing. Right after the FBI raided Diddy's properties, alone. Maybe it's a coincidence. But now, insiders are whispering that Harvey was buying back incriminating footage of himself from one of Diddy's infamous party tapes. Suddenly, this looks like damage control dressed up as a wire transfer. The kind of strategic silence you only buy when you're cornered. Because if Diddy had footage of Lori Harvey in compromising situations, willing or otherwise, and Steve knew about it, the entire power dynamic flips. It's no longer about Steve's public image. It's about his household, his legacy, his empire. And we can't ignore the ticking time bomb that is Steve and Marjorie's marriage. The cheating rumors, the bodyguards, the private chefs, the whispers of a $200 million divorce. Steve swore everything was fine, even got on stage and preached about it. We fine, Lord have mercy. But that speech felt less like reassurance and more like a desperate prayer. Now enter Diddy allegedly holding footage. Steve sending hush money through backdoors. Lori caught in the crosshairs. And suddenly, this isn't just about one video, it's a hostage situation with luxury drapes. Because if Diddy had something on Marjorie too, her name has already been linked to two men accused of high-level trafficking. And one even claimed in his memoir that feds had dirt on her but struck a deal to keep her clean. If Diddy found anything, even a whisper of footage backing that up, it wouldn't just end Steve's career, it could trigger an avalanche. So the question is, was that payment to Diddy just about one tape? Or was it Steve's final attempt to hold his empire together before it crumbled? The talk shows, the suits, the clean-cut image of a God-fearing man gone in one leak. Imagine being stuck between two impossible options. Let the world see the footage and watch your name burn. Or quietly pay off the man holding the lighter. And Diddy, he's no saint. Even his own lawyers described him as a violent, dishonest, promiscuous manipulator. Right before the sex trafficking charges in New York dropped. Now that the legal net is tightening around Diddy, he's not playing by the old rules. Over 60 lawsuits, possible 20-year sentence, legal bills through the roof. And sources say he's unraveling, paranoid, reckless, chaotic, throwing bombs just to stay relevant. So whatever Steve paid, it might have bought silence for a moment, but not loyalty. And if Diddy still sees that tape as a weapon, it's not about leaking, it's about threatening to. That alone keeps Hollywood on a leash. Because even if the Harvey footage never surfaces, the idea that it could is enough to keep doors closed, phones silent, and deals dead in the water. Think about a clip leaking from one of Lori and Diddy's 2019 trips: Mexico, Italy, New York, Miami. Even suggested intimacy would light the internet on fire. It wouldn't just hit Lori, it would bury Steve, Marjorie, the whole Harvey brand. Those whispers become screams. That carefully built image shatters in seconds, and all it takes is one clip, or one thread of it. The vault, that's what they call it. The whispered legend of Diddy's blackmail arsenal. Encrypted drives, locked safes, private servers. Rumors say it holds everything footage from Diddy's most secretive parties. But these weren't just parties, they were traps. High-end setups with hidden cameras, endless alcohol, and zero boundaries. Celebs would let their guard down. Some say they were drugged. Some just got sloppy. But nobody knew the cameras were rolling. Former insiders claim this vault is Diddy's real power, not music, not liquor, not fashion. Silence bought through fear. A digital library of dirt on actors, artists, moguls, even politicians doing things they'd never once seen. Some illegal, others just humiliating. But that's the game. It's not about what's in the tape. It's about who knows it exists and how far they'll go to make sure it never sees the light of day. It started with a rumor, a faint echo in Hollywood's inner circles. Not a tape, not a name, just a question. Are you on it? That question alone had enough weight to silence people. Because in Diddy's world, power wasn't just about money or influence. It was about secrets. Secrets so deep that people clung to his orbit out of fear, not loyalty. Fear that he had something on them, something recorded, something that could end them. Imagine living with that paranoia, not knowing if you're on camera, not knowing who else saw, and yet acting like you are keeping quiet, playing nice, avoiding the wrong questions. That's not friendship, that's psychological warfare. The industry whispers aren't just about parties anymore, they're about leverage, about control. And that control, insiders say, is what Diddy mastered better than anyone. It paints a much darker reality, one where fame is traded for silence, and participation in the lifestyle is a form of payment. Not with dollars, but with blackmail, collateral, those late-night favors. That cool invite, it wasn't just access. It was entry into a game you couldn't quit. Diddy didn't need to threaten anyone. His reputation did the work. A warning, wrapped in luxury. So now, we have to ask how many careers are built on what didn't leak. Who stayed famous because Diddy kept their secret? The vault, if it's real, is more than a scandal. It's a time bomb, a quiet, ticking threat to the whole machine. A Hollywood where stars traded freedom for fame, and one man held the receipts. A velvet trap with a camera hidden in every corner. And it gets worse. The rumors don't stop at parties. They talk about jets, penthouses, overseas trips, phones confiscated, NDAs signed in back rooms. A whole ecosystem designed not for fun but for capture. And if even someone like Steve Harvey allegedly had to buy footage back, then who else is entangled? Who's praying that vault never cracks open? Because if it does, it won't be a scandal, it'll be a meltdown. Brand deals gone. Careers canceled, shows pulled from syndication, reputations erased overnight, and all of it detonated by a man behind bars, still controlling the board with a few encrypted drives and unspoken threats. Diddy might be facing justice, but he's not powerless. Not yet, so we ask you, who's next? How many Ellis silently panicking, praying their name doesn't pop up in the next leak? This isn't just about celebrity drama anymore. This is about a system built on secrets. One vault, one hard drive, one grudge, and Hollywood burns. Let us know what you think in the comments, and remember, in this town, nothing stays hidden forever.